Reaching young adults with the good news of Jesus is arguably our greatest opportunity and our most significant challenge. This is a conversation about evangelism. So welcome to the garden.
Having been in several indoor spaces, it's wonderful to be outdoors.
Yep, and talking about one of my favourite subjects, evangelism.
Because the garden is where things grow. So the inevitable question is, how do young adults come to faith?
Well, the first thing to consider is the landscape. On one hand, the soil in the garden is quite tough. The prevailing wind of culture is post-Christian, pluralistic, liberal and secular. And more generally, there's both a suspicion of meta-narratives, big stories that explain everything, and authority and institution.
But there's also good news, right? There is an openness to spirituality. Younger generations tend to be more open to the idea of miracles. And as church has moved online, there's been evidence of young adults engaging in online church.
Yeah, look, we should be so encouraged by the research in the most recent pandemic that found that somewhere between a third and a half of all 18 to 30s checked out church online. That is a long way from the so-called missing generation. That's really encouraging.
They're also coming to faith, right? In the wider resource, there's some really encouraging stories of young adults coming to faith. So, how is this happening?
Well, a really common thread is almost always the impact of a friend, a work colleague, a family member or a neighbour. And research reinforces this, that the greatest influence is a friend. And we really shouldn't be surprised by this. This is the most connected generation in history. So it makes sense that they'll find out about Jesus through their connections. So that means that a really key question is how do we equip and inspire Christian young adults to be able to share their faith with their friends and invite them to evangelistic events?
Even introduce them to Christian friends. I read somewhere that one of the most effective things we can do is invite our non-Christian friends to meet our Christian friends. It's that connection piece again.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the second common thread of people coming to faith is the sense of belonging they experience in the communities that they're invited into. All the principles that we've explored in this resource will help us make that happen more effectively as a church.
Well, I guess if young adults feel like they belong in a community, then they're more likely to invite their friends along to events.
Yeah, look, there's loads more to explore as part of this conversation, and you can find more insight and input in the wider resource and the blogs online.
For case studies that go even further, head to the Young Adult Conversation section on the Evangelical Alliance website. Here are the questions that relate to evangelism.